Good morning, everyone. My name's Mark Reed. As I'm sure those that listen regularly will know, my dreary voice is here again. I'm a solicitor at Laudit Solicitors, and needed to clear the cobwebs away, to be honest. Been a little bit poorly over the last couple of weeks, so I wanted to just sort of jump back in and hopefully help our listeners to understand a couple of things to do with something that we get phoned up about all the time. And it's to do with trademarks, but it's more specifically to do with slogans, okay? Now, brace yourself. This is going to be a very quick snapshot. And it is something that will sound like a little bit of waffle at times, so forgive me. But essentially, the big question that we tend to find is a slogan registrable as a trademark? Well, the short answer is yes. For those of you that only wanted to know that, I guess you can just press stop now. But I urge you not to. Quite simply because there's a little bit more to it, and it can be really quite complex. We do, find ourselves rolling our eyes at times or going cross-eyed with considering the certain detail within. But back to basics, trademark. Okay, so it first goes to the examiner. As we've said on many of our other podcasts, the two most fundamental things under what's known as the absolute grounds for an examiner to refuse that trademark is whether it is distinctive, and also to ensure that it's not descriptive of the goods and services in question. Okay, slogans are the same, no different. Now, there are lots of people out there that are pushing slogans out and really hoping that no one else tries to steal it, because they are aware that it is not possible to be registrable because it is just not distinctive and clearly descriptive of the goods and services, albeit a slogan in itself anyway, as far as that owner is concerned. But when we put the basic principles within a slogan to that of a standard trademark, you must remember those two primary principles, which is that it has to be distinctive and it cannot be descriptive. But a little bit more than that, because an examiner will consider, using different terminology here, but they will consider whether it is imaginative. Now, that's quite a quirky slogan to use. That's really unique. It's really original. It's very imaginative. That's now I can now allow that to have its distinctiveness as far as the examiner is concerned. Okay, immediately you get a nice big tick on there, and that will go a long way to helping you have that trademark, or the slogan, the trademark, past that stage and onto the publication stage. The descriptiveness is very, very difficult. And of course, as I say, it is quite a complex issue. And there has been a lot of case law over the years that have had to consider what is able to pass that stage and what is considered as descriptive, or what can actually say, well, it might be a little bit descriptive, but it's more general. And I know you're probably rolling your eyes there to say, but you're not really answering anything. But the reality is that's the way in which they will consider it. Actually, if you go to the UKIPO's website, so that's UK Intellectual Property Office website, okay, they actually neatly outline a number of examples of slogans that have been accepted. So I'm just on here now. We've got "Going Your Way" as a taxi service due to it only being a casual link. Now, there we are. We've just mentioned about descriptive, and that it won't be allowed to pass that stage in the first instance, but there's an example there of it being allowed to pass. So, with that in mind, let's have a look at another one. "Natural just got sexy." Hey, well, that one's for clothing. And that was, there we are, I've just used the word imaginative. That one was deemed as imaginative. Okay, and that was for clothing. So those are a couple of examples there, and there are many more if you go to the website. Okay, so you're able to then consider whether your mark, the slogan, is going to follow that same principle there. I mentioned about case law. What's the big one? Let me try and think now. Hold on, I've got some notes here as well. Oh, yes, of course. The Audi AG and OHIM. Oh, that was a big case. Known as the Vorsprung Deutsch Technique. I apologise about the way I said that then. I have to say I probably said that completely wrong. But we all know that case, for those of us that have been in the industry, or certainly doing all of our studies over the years. That case explored the public perception of different categories of marks that may not arrive at the same conclusion and could be argued as being more difficult to establish that distinctiveness that I've just mentioned there. It'll also consider the necessary characteristics, like I said, about the imaginative point or the originality of that particular slogan. I know not from word for word, but within that case, if memory serves, it speaks of the existence of these characteristics is not a necessary condition for being able to establish that. Certainly when it comes to an advertising slogan and that distinctiveness in nature. Okay, so all of these rules and all of these things that I've just rabbited on about there, go back to basics always. Immediately say to yourself, okay, it is possible for me to register a slogan. Okay, it is possible, but you must consider the basic principles of, is it distinctive? We need to try and stay away from that descriptiveness. But if it is there is an element of both, it being non-distinctive or it being descriptive, then consider whether there's still originality there. Now, I know that immediately says, well, then it's distinctive, isn't it? But, it has to be imaginative. Phone us up, we'll have a chat, we can look through things. But remember, there's always that battle. As soon as the examiner has seen and they've considered the mark under the absolute grounds, it's still got to go over to the publication period. And that allows all the wolves to descend down on you, okay? And you need to make sure that you're not just copying someone else's who has already been able to register their mark. We do not advise for you to say, well, I'm really happy about this mark, this slogan, I'm going to keep pushing it out there, even if it's not registrable, because it means that you're going to struggle to maintain that, I was going to use the word monopoly there over that slogan, but really it is, you want to make sure it's protected. You want to make sure that the others are not able to steal it or use it in the same way. And it weakens, it dilutes its ability to be very personal to you and your company. Okay, so there we are, snapshot, cleared away the cobwebs, and I'll be back over the next few days with some different points of law, not just intellectual property. We've got a lot of areas that we find very interesting and like to consider and discuss. So thanks for listening. If you wish to have more information on slogans, trademarks, or just our intellectual property in general, please email us at info@laudit.co.uk or go to the website and do a website consultation, which is www.laudit.co.uk. Alternatively, pick up the phone, 02380 235 979. Thanks for listening, and speak to you soon.